Hello and welcome to Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. I am Mark Arm Vein Hoffmeyer.
And I am Jay Incentive Cluett. And this is Deep Blue Sea 2, Chapter 7. We're talking about Deep Blue Sea 2, Chapter 7 this week. What happens in Deep Blue Sea 2, Chapter 7? Well, let me tell you. The survivors of Achilles are scattered across various corridors, illuminated in various colours, and there's a shiver of killer bull shark pups on the loose. Daniel is still looking for Leslie, and she's still unconscious, so does not appear in this 10-minute chapter. But he is chased by the shark pups down the corridor, manages to survive by clinging to a pipe in the ceiling as the pups jump up at him. Josh and Aaron are arguing about where to go and eventually decide to hide in the living quarters, but unfortunately the door is stuck open and the pups are closing in. Aaron climbs on an upper bunk and Josh hides in the shower, but as the room floods, water pours over the top of the shower with the pups and Josh is killed, eaten alive. Aaron escapes, floating precariously on his mattress. And meanwhile, Durant takes some more of the genius serum and meets up with Trent Slater and Dr. Misty Calhoun. Durant tells them of his plan to make it to the filtration room where they can climb up the access ladder in the air shaft. On the way, Misty threatens to expose Durant's deeds. She hears Daniel yelling for Leslie, so goes to find him, allowing Durant, whilst Trent is investigating the air shaft, to break the door, trapping Misty out of the room. Trent tells her to look for a way out, whilst he plans to go topside, call for help, and come back down to save her. That's Deep Blue Sea 2 Chapter 7. And joining us to discuss Deep Blue Sea 2 Chapter 7, we have Kevin Kulp. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's really delightful to be here.
Happy to have you. Now, we've asked you, you're a big shark movie fan, and you've watched a lot of shark films recently, so you seem perfect to be a guest on the show.
Until very recently, I wasn't, but during the pandemic, my sharking partner and I have watched 89 different crappy shark movies. That includes a lot of really good shark movies.
I was going to say, there's some films on that list I would not consider to be called crappy, given that you have, I don't know, Jaws and Deep Blue Sea, films we're pretty fond of here.
Yeah, I love this list. It makes me happy. And, there's probably there actually probably is a million different ways that you could rank these 89 films in this. But I think I like a lot of these. And you're going from favorite, right? Favorite, not best, correct?
Right. So we're not going on best. We're going on how soon would we want to rewatch them.
Oh, nice.
We are also including with that, like low-budget movies that they do a good job with get bumped upwards because good for them. High-budget movies that they do a crappy job with get bumped down because, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. The rest of that is mostly how much fun they were.
I like seeing Shark Night. I'll include the link to this in the post, but I like seeing Shark Night at 6. Now, I know Shark Night doesn't get a lot of love, but I do like that there's a hammerhead fight with a guy with one arm stabbing it with a spear, and then there's a great jet ski gag.
Poor Malik.
Yeah.
Shark Night 3D was actually the first shark movie we watched, which is exactly a year ago come this Monday. When the poor bastard, Leonard maybe, gets picked off out of a mangrove tea by a jumping tiger shark.
Yeah.
My heart went with him. Yeah, so it's a good fun movie.
It delivers. Just Shark Night 3D with sharks jumping out of the water, with sharks designed by Walt Conti, who did the sharks on Deep Blue Sea as well. So you got to tie that in. And you have a great jet ski gag. I love jet skis. Also, I watched Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar the other day. It's a bonkers film, and there's a wonderful jet ski gag in there for everybody out there listening. So if you like jet ski bits, watch Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, I'm going to ask you all a question. In this scene, Dr. Misty Calhoun is talking to Durant, and she is saying, I'm going to make sure that you pay when we get out of here. That's something I think no one should ever do. Also, I was watching Judgment Night the other night, and it's Emilio Estevez fighting Dennis Leary at the end. And Dennis Leary's winning, beating the living snot out of Emilio Estevez. And Dennis Leary goes, I'm going to also find your family, and then I'm going to kill them too. And of course, Emilio rallies, and he defeats Dennis Leary.
Yeah.
Emilio was out of it. If Dennis was like, listen, man, I'm just going to kill you. Your family's cool. It's all good. Like, you're fine. But then he taunts the family. Emilio pulls an Emilio and comes back and wins. And this one, she's like, I'm going to get you. And then he turns on her. So I know Misty hates Durant. That's totally fair. Durant's a maniac, a limitless maniac who goes full Chuck. But I don't know, never threaten somebody you're in a survival situation with. That's just my thing, right? Shouldn't you play it a little cooler?
Absolutely. This is a chapter of people making stupid decisions, in my opinion.
I will argue that Misty is raising the stakes, right? And of course, she's not going to attack Durant. She's just going to sue him in South Africa. Like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I do know one thing: that facility not OSHA approved.
No, definitely not. With the doors and also, I don't like Aaron being yelled at by Josh. Josh is like, "I told you to fix the door." Is Josh Aaron's boss, even though Aaron got him the job?
I don't think, like, Josh to me seems like the lowest rung in the facility, like in the crew. But
yeah.
But also, well, I suppose he was taking the shark's throat culture, so he must have some kind of skills. But then, if he was that qualified, why was he in need of a job living in his mum's basement?
Mm-hmm.
I guess, I mean, Aaron could conceivably report Josh to HR, but I'm suspecting that's not going to be particularly effective.
Yeah.
I think he's just under stress.
Yes.
He's an upset kind of guy. They're being chased by baby sharks. He has forgotten that apparently doors don't close easily when you're 4 feet in water. I don't know.
The nice thing about this 4 feet in water, what you were just talking about too, and I'm jumping all over the place, but I love this chapter. I love this movie. And I dig how everyone's tired trudging through the water. Because in a lot of movies you watch, no one's exhausted trudging through water. But in this one, Misty, Trent, Durant, they're all like really impressive physical specimens, but they're exhausted trudging through water. And it makes me happy. It's very believable. Water trudging is miserable.
When Trent's moving through the water, he's moving through it. He's like crouched down.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I noticed that. Everyone else is up to their, mid chest or so. Trent's up to his neck. I think he's just squatting for better sight lines.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd be doing the same thing to try and hide my physique, because of I'm not someone who takes their shirt off in water, and I feel like I feel like Trent, maybe he shouldn't be feeling that way, but he's there next to Dr. Misty Calhoun. Perhaps he's feeling embarrassed. I don't know.
I have a question though. Trudging through water, I used to have an above ground pool, and you couldn't really swim laps in it because it was circular. So I would just walk around it and get like a good like a whirlpool going, then walk the other way. It was
Get
a good
some
exercise.
resistance going. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then, but if you go underwater and you just swim, you don't have that resistance. So I wonder if that's what Trent's doing. He's saving himself for that.
Maybe. But speaking of the dealing with the waist high water, Daniel makes an incredible vertical leap from being in the water. He manages to jump up to the ceiling. Daniel, not a tall man, but it's a good. I'd say the ceiling is maybe 4 or 5 feet above his head, and he's in 4 foot of water, 3 or 4 foot of water. That's an incredible vertical jump.
He's got that pipe. He's probably got a step stool. For all we know, he's stepping on a baby shark. It's hard to say for sure.
Maybe. I was very impressed with his athletics.
He does work as a stuntman.
Yes.
Sometimes. So, and when he falls into the water, that's him. So maybe they wanted him on there so they didn't have to pay for a stunty to do the fall for him. So he's cost effective.
The beautiful slow motion Hans Gruber fall from the pipe is balletic. I loved it.
And my theory is that when he isn't secretly selling his wife's research information to eccentric billionaires, he's spending a lot of time at the gym.
Maybe.
Yeah, because she's doing all the work.
He's doing all the work. He is stealing her work and basically sending it without pay to a billionaire in the hopes that the guy compensates him. I'm not impressed. Ladies, don't do this. Don't allow this.
That's a good point. So I know when he brings it up to her, and we were talking about this earlier on one of the prior episodes, where when he is talking to Leslie, he doesn't tell her out of the goodness of his heart. He tells Leslie about the data that her data, giving it to Durant because she's going to find out anyway.
Yeah, coward.
So so he's not only he's working out all the time, he's probably going to Gold's Gym during the day, right? Working out, getting an expensive smoothie with the peanut butter, the bananas, the chocolate, the protein, $7 shakes on her money. And then he's just living off her research in the hopes of getting rich.
Gosh, I hope that something bad happens to him in a later chapter.
I have a feeling it might. Some implausible ladder-based death. Who knows?
Yeah, I do. I gotta say though, the first time I watched this movie, it frustrated me, and I let everyone know it years ago. But now when I watch it, I'm able to really roll with it, and I'm gonna miss this movie, Jay. Now that we're getting through it. And I love the adorable baby sharks jumping out of the water. Yeah.
That is the best part of this chapter, no question about it.
When they're raining down on Josh in the shower, it looks so much fun for the sharks. It's like a water slide for them. It's great.
I mean, So I think you probably love this movie more than I do. We were chatting just before the show. Deep Blue Sea on my list of the 89 movies, shark movies we've seen. Deep Blue Sea is number 3. Deep Blue Sea 3 is number 18, which is pretty good. And Deep Blue Sea 2 comes in at number 51 out of 89.
That's higher than I was expecting it to be, if I'm honest.
Yep, it's just under Mega Shark versus Mecha Shark and just over Jaws the Revenge, which is Jaws 4. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Rewatching this scene, like there's some bits of it which are just delightful. The baby sharks, for instance, cascading down the showers. But it does have a couple challenges.
Yeah. How did they get over that?
Get over what?
Well, the shower door.
Oh, right. So
That's a good question.
So let's can we walk through this scene for a second?
Absolutely.
Do we want to take it in order? Or do we want to take it chunk by chunk?
We have no preference.
Okay. So let's just set the scene, right? Aaron and Josh are trying to get into the living quarters.
It's the furthest
the door
place
is shutting.
Yes, it's the furthest place away from where the first shark attack was.
Is it really?
Yes,
okay.
that's why Josh is going there, because it's the furthest place from the Eastern Corridor where Craig was killed. And I've spent too much of today looking at the map of Achilles.
I am very impressed. Wait, where did you find a map of Achilles?
Chapter 5. It's on one of Aaron's screens at one point, and I've been trying to map out exactly everyone. I've not finished it yet, but I'm going to try and map out everyone's routes at some point based on this.
Have you come to any conclusions as to why the underwater sections look ridiculously old compared to the fact that it's a reasonably recent facility?
That I have not, but I'm guessing it's just corner cutting in terms of Durant's financing, just because you got this door that doesn't shut properly.
Whoever set up emergency lights in the corridors, they pick specific color schemes.
The door wheel that Durant can break with a few taps of the fire extinguisher towards the end. I mean, it's got to be a fairly cheap facility, I think. He's cutting some corners.
Whoa.
So Josh getting eaten in the shower. So Aaron and Josh make it into the living quarters. The water is about chest height. Josh clambers onto the top bunk. He's got a good 1.5 feet between the water and him.
Yes.
And Aaron climbs to the top bunk.
Yeah.
Josh gets into the shower. And the water, again, right is chest height. In seconds, now the water by the bunk is 1.5 feet taller. And the water outside of the shower rises and rises and rises until it is ceiling height. And the sharks are pouring in over the top of the shower to eat Josh alive. My theory, guys, is that the baby sharks can control water height.
They must.
Yeah, I think that's the only possible explanation.
I have an alternative.
Okay.
Well, the first time I watched this, looking at the map, I'm pretty sure that the living quarters are at the very end of a corridor. First time I watched this, I thought the room was tilting.
Oh, interesting.
Because
that's a better idea than mine.
Because the water's going above the shower, but it's not really changing for Aaron. So I thought that somehow where Aaron is kind of staying the same height, and where Josh is, it's getting lower in the sea. So that was just my first reaction. Oh my god, the room's tilting. This is great. I'd love to see this from the outside actually happening. But budget costs, I'm guessing we wouldn't be able to show it. That was just my initial theory was, the room's tilting. That's an interesting angle to show.
It certainly makes more sense than the water height magically raising and lowering for convenience of the sharks. Yeah. And you notice the baby sharks aren't trapped in the shower afterward.
Yeah, because they can swim back over the top. Yeah.
Right, I thought it was maybe coming from the ceiling, because Aaron, his area has not flooded yet.
Yes.
And I love him flopping around on the bed, though. That's pretty funny. The floating bed.
He is very believably terrible at maneuvering the mattress. It's great.
Nobody would ever be good at that. I love that he's not a pro. Like if that was Dwayne Johnson, he would be surfing that thing.
Oh, he'd have ripped some kind of pipe to use as a paddle. He'd be standing up on it.
He'd be paddleboarding?
Yeah.
Or Aaron.
And Aaron's going around. I thought maybe they were coming from the ceiling, because that means you would need probably the water. It would have to just raise in that area. But yeah, I don't understand that scene. I watched the behind the scenes extras too about his death, and it's like the water sort of just pulled a 45. It was at you have a flat surface and it goes at a 45-degree angle up, and then just jumps over that.